Hello, investors and traders, and welcome to the Midweek Market Report. I'm AJ Monte, Chief Market Strategist with Sticky Trades. And before we get into the charts, I just want to mention a couple of books that people are requesting. They've asked me, what kind of books do you read? What kind of books can you recommend? Well, I have a couple right here. First and foremost, if you haven't caught my book, The Market Guide's 5 Points for Trading Success, is still available on Amazon. This is limited copies, so get them while you can. I have my own inventory outside of our publisher, so if you're interested in that, just send me a message via YouTube or aj@stickytrades.com, and I can get that over to you. Another one is The Creature from Jekyll Island. And if you want to know a little bit about the history of the Federal Reserve, there you go. It could be a little scary. This is more like a horror story, the way it's written. Another one is Market Mind Games by Dennis Scholl. Very good if you're interested in learning about the psychology of the markets and how to control your emotions. Another author I would suggest is Martin Pring. He's put out a couple of really good books on the psychology of investing. Investment Psychology Explained and Technical Analysis Explained by Martin Pring. I'll leave the link down below in the description box for you. And one of my all-time favorites is Edwards and McGee, right there. Let me get this light out of the way. Technical Analysis of Stock Trends. This is required reading for the CMT exams through the Market Technicians Association. One of the best books you could put in your library. And so those are my recommendations for this week. Remember, tomorrow the CPI numbers are going to come out at 8:30 a.m. Then later in the morning, we're going to have natural gas storage at 10:30. And then we're going to have the 30-year bond auction happening right after 1 o'clock. So that's going to add, I believe, a little action to tomorrow's trading session. And with that said, I'm going to start off with a request on gold, GLD. I normally don't do it this way, but one of our viewers were asking about gold. And so I have an upside target on GLD right there at 189.79, and you have a gap above the market right here that I think could fill. Now, going into the major market indices, starting with DIA, I have my downside target still in place down there. It looks like we've got a volume decrease there over the last 4 days. My downside target is still at 365.10, and then we'll have to see how far we break out below that 20-period moving average. I think tomorrow and possibly Friday we could see the beginning of selling into next week, so keep an eye on the charts. Now, if we look at IWM, we did hit my upside target on that early on this week at 197. I think there's still a little bit more room to go on the upside, but that moving average is most likely going to meet resistance right there at 197.63. So keep your eyes out for a pivot to the downside. QQQ, we had a lot of action here today, especially, but we hit my upside target. And in the process, we filled this upside gap up there around 408. So I think that this is one that could start turning lower. I'm not going to put a price forecast on there until Friday because I like to save those targets. But I do think we could start to see some selling right around that moving average. As I just mentioned, the volume is dropping quite steadily on the Qs. And that is for the tech sector. Looking at SPY, you could see that we had a two-part forecast last week where the upside target is already hit at 471.44. I think we're going to start turning lower in the downside pivot to ultimately hit my short-term downside target of 464.91, says SPY. As I mentioned last week on the VIX, I said there was a good chance that we could pull back and test that 20-period moving average. Well, guess what? We did just that. We're right on the 20-period moving average. Oscillators are just about at that point where they're becoming oversold. Not there, but very close. And so I think later in this week and into next week, I think we'll see an uptick in the VIX, bringing us closer and closer to my longer-term target of 1811. So thank you so much for participating in our YouTube channel with your comments, your likes, your subscriptions, and by all means, click on the notification bell so that when these alerts come out, you'll be notified immediately via your cell phone. Remember, tonight is Wednesday night rapid fire stock analysis For 1 hour, my goal is to cover at least 50 stocks. Last week, we went over 50 stocks in 60 minutes, and we found 24 star favorites. Well, guess what? Out of the 24, more than half of them have already hit their price targets. I do not pick these stocks. These are ticker symbols that are selected from the audience. I just put my technical analysis over it, putting price targets, and we have an action-packed hour for you. So if you're interested in that, go to stickytrades.com. You could register for that, subscribe, and plug right in. So that's it for today. Have a good rest of the day, and I'll talk to you on Friday for the weekly market report. So long.